What is up, beautiful humans? I am back with a brand new video, and I know my last video was a little funny, a little cheeky, but now I'm back with a more serious and genuine video, and this may very well be the most important video I could do. So because of that, I really am begging you guys to share this video, send it around, like it if you like it, all that kind of shit, because today's video does exactly what it says on the tin. I aim to give less than well-versed Overwatch players the necessary tools to increase their skills to a level that at the very least will make it extremely unlikely that you are a detriment to anyone's team. And this video isn't only for new players, it's also for casual and possibly even veteran players who just don't know what they're doing wrong. And yes, veterans, because just playing a game a lot doesn't mean you're good at it, you know? But having said all that, this video will certainly be most helpful to newer players. I'll be going over generally basic tips for the game overall and tips for each specific role. I say basic, but if it were as basic as I'm making it sound, then everyone would be doing it and I wouldn't feel compelled to make this video. So once again, please send this video around because I really feel like some people need to hear this. I know you won't send it around or like it, but I do have to try. So anyway, let's get started. But real quick, before that, please join me in a quick prayer. Bow your heads and close your eyes. Dear Odin, who doth reside in Asgard, I beseech thee to allow this video's reach to be far and wide, so that all whomst come acrosseth it might be better at Overwatch. Amen. Okay, let's do this. So, as you probably already know, there are 3 role types in Overwatch 2. Tank, damage, and support. Tank heroes protect and soak up damage. Damage characters deal out large sums of damage in relatively short amounts of time. Support characters provide healing and other utilities to their team. All sounds very simple and straightforward, and it is, but where a lot of people may not be seeing a lot of personal success may reside in the fact that you are not taking your role to heart. And let's remember this, because taking your role to heart is probably going to be a theme. But let's start off by talking about tanks. A properly assembled Overwatch 2 team is comprised of 2 damage heroes, 2 support heroes, and 1 tank. Now remember what I said, your job as a tank is to protect and soak up damage. Because of this, along with the fact that you are the only tank character on the team, you are automatically the nucleus of your team. You are the focal point. Again, you protect and soak up damage. Take your role to heart. Tank characters are outfitted with more health and defenses than other heroes, so it doesn't benefit anyone if you are afraid of damage. You have the highest likelihood of being alive if hit by any given thing. A mistake I too often see tanks make is standing behind everyone. If you are playing tank, do not stand behind your teammates for extended periods. And definitely do not stand behind your healers. They can't heal you if they can't see you. Taking note that you're always standing within the line of sight of a healer is a great tip for all roles, and we'll talk more about it, but for now, let's just continue to focus on the tanks. So, understand that as a tank, you should be standing in front of your entire team. You are the vanguard, as they call it. You are supposed to act as a wall that blocks damage from hitting your far more vulnerable allies. It's up to you to set a steady pace and push forward onto objectives. And what I'm about to say is a great tip for the entire game, but especially tanks. Focus on the objective. That is where you're supposed to be. That is how you win. This is not Call of Duty. This is not deathmatch. So always try to be where you're supposed to be. Another tip for tanking is don't let your extra health and defenses go to your head. You're not invincible, and you shouldn't act like you are. It's also not your job to make sure all your enemies are dead. That's not to say don't try to kill anyone, but rushing down enemies and hunting people is often just going to lead to you so deep into enemy territory that your healers can't keep you alive without getting themselves killed. It's not up to you to dive into the entire 5-player enemy team and start swinging. You're just gonna get yourself killed and then your team has no protection. When it comes to tanking, slow and steady wins the race. All you need to do is do your best to be alive and be a nuisance. And when your teammates are being shot at and attacked, step in front of them. You can take it, they can't. If your healer is under attack and you stand in front to take the damage, they're gonna start healing you, which will give you the time that you need to be able to kill your attackers. If your damage character is under attack and you step in front of them, then they can kill their attacker before the attacker kills you, because with you taking damage and them dishing it out, you guys have high damage and high defenses, as opposed to your attackers who likely only has one or the other. And also, for God's sake, if you're playing tank, stop trying to flank people. Stop straying away from your team in general. All you're doing is taking away your team's defense. And listen, there's only a couple of outcomes when you're trying to flank as a tank, and they're not good. Let's look at the first one. Let's say you try to flank your opponents. What happens? Your whole team just follows you because they want to be where the protection is. And when you guys pop out on the side of the enemy team, surprise, it doesn't matter now. You're just having a fight in a different direction in a worse area, because since you tried to flank, you're now to the right or to the left of the objective, but you're not on the objective. So now you don't even have objective pressure. The opposing team's not even forced to come to a certain area because you're just having a fight in a spot that they don't want. That doesn't matter. They can do whatever they want. You've lost the advantage of knowing they have to come here, they have to come to me if I'm standing on the objective. You've lost it for the fake advantage of they'll never see this one coming. They will see it coming, and it doesn't matter if they don't. This is not Call of Duty. If you surprise somebody for a split second, you don't just win the fight in this game. When your whole team tries an idiotic flank because their tank thought he was Sombra, in the 1 second that it takes the enemy team to notice where you guys actually are, you will have killed no one, and this will divulge into a standard team fight, except without an objective advantage and with the added handicap that flank paths are often more cramped spaces that make your team susceptible to explosives and other area of effect attacks. Okay? So stop flanking. The other option that happens when your tank tries to flank is no one goes with you. Everyone else went toward the objective the way they were, supposed to go. So you, as the fairly low damage tank, try to pick someone off from the enemy team only to get jumped and easily killed and have your team suffer the same fate because they had no protection. Tanks, stop flanking. Stop trying to get up high and shoot down at people. I know you want to be Obi-Wan, but the high ground isn't going to help you here. There are no modes or maps where the objective is up high or in the air. Your job as a tank, along with everything I've already said, is to block the enemy path. If they want to go somewhere, especially the fucking objective, they have to go through you. They have to knock down this hard to kill wall. You know when a wall isn't a problem at all? When it's just not in your fucking way. They shouldn't be able to go under you. They shouldn't be able to walk around you. You should be in front of them. All right? I hope all of that is helpful on the tank side of things. Because there is typically only one tank, it is a very pivotal role. So if you're new and you're not quite sure what's going on and you're not that familiar with all the heroes and what they do, I don't recommend being a tank. But at some point, you'll probably do it. And for when you do, I'd like to give some character suggestions. Actually, I do want to give character suggestions for every role, but in the case of the tanks, I think it's easier to tell you who not to use. As it stands at the time of recording, I think that Doomfist and Hammond are characters to avoid. Hammond is the hamster Wrecking Ball. If you're new, you will learn that literally no one calls him Wrecking Ball. But yeah, Hammond and Doom are just critically underpowered and under-equipped in comparison to the other tanks. I'd also avoid Winston because his playstyle is a little different, and you will probably want to get more familiar with the game before using one of the more unorthodox tanks. Every other tank outside of those three I think is fair game though if you apply the stuff I said. I think Roadhog is probably the best starter choice because of his ease and ability to heal himself. Diva, Orisa, and Zarya are kind of too powerful right now in game, so if you want to give them a go before they get nerfed, hopefully, feel free. But whoever you choose, I hope you take what I said and apply it. I really do think it's helpful. And don't think you're going to pick one of the characters I said was overpowered and just win. Overpowered doesn't mean you win. It means those characters have a bit of an unbalanced advantage. That's all. So remember to protect and be in the way. But now let's move on. We're finally out of the tank zone and we're gonna head right over to damage. So the damage role is absolutely the role I recommend if you feel like you have a lot of room for improvement in this game. This is probably the easiest role, assuming you pick one of the easier characters. But that doesn't mean people don't fuck it up. So listen, you're a damage character, right? Take your fucking role to heart. Shoot these motherfuckers. I kid you not. No fucking joke. The biggest mistake I see when people play damage heroes is that they will not shoot their fucking gun. Pull that fucking trigger. Every shot doesn't need to be some perfectly precise thing. Just fucking shoot people. It's your job to provide what is called offensive pressure. What is that? It's exactly what it sounds like. Because your tank is your team's defense, and the entire match your opponent will be trying to shatter your defenses by either killing the tank directly straight through their healing or killing the healers so that the tank and everyone else drops faster. And your opponent will be aggressive while doing so. Everyone's trying to press forward, everyone's fighting for the same objective, but your job as damage is that when you see someone overstepping, when you see someone somewhere you don't want them to be, or doing something detrimental to your team, you fucking shoot them. If they so much as peek around a corner, shoot them. It doesn't matter if you miss, shoot at them. Let them know you can't just come around corners all willy-nilly, you can't press up on my tank, you can't harass my healer, because I'm gonna fucking shoot at you every time. And another tip for damage is don't get thirsty. It's okay if you didn't kill them. You're gonna get kills, don't worry about it. But just shoot them to pieces as best you can. You have to be the deterrent. It doesn't matter if you kill them as long as they know you're there and they're afraid of it. And listen, this is kind of a part of not being thirsty. Stop standing in front of your tank and stop standing behind your healer. I know you want to get out in front and shoot people as soon as possible, but shooting people from safety is the better option for your team. And take a note of where your healers are, because they are likely more focused on the tank if they're any good. And making them travel away from the tank and diverting their focus between too great of a gap is not good for anyone. Too often, damage heroes simply won't stay with the safety, and it's beneficial to no one except your enemies. Stick close by your tank and close by your healers. I'm not saying you need to be hugging them, but stay within the line of sight of the healers and within the protection of the tank. Another thing is, if you have damage abilities, you should be using those as often as possible. Every damaging tool at your disposal should be on full display as often as possible. The two damage heroes on a team should aim to create an oppressive environment for your opponents, making them feel like they can't do anything without the threat of death. And if your damage character has a movement ability or escape, don't do it unless you have to. This is another common mistake I often see damage players do. The hero Sojourn has a fast slide ability that she can jump out of, and it makes her incredibly hard to track. But too many times do Sojourn players slide into a battle only for when their health gets low for that to be on cooldown and you have no way of escape. Do not burn out your survival options because it looks cool or it feels cool. This is a good tip for the entire game in general, but especially damage. Characters like Echo using her sudden temporary burst of speed and flight just to try to shoot enemies on the ground from the sky, only for Echo's health to be shredded and them left with no way to get out of danger. You see what I'm saying? So all summed up, As a damage hero, you should be staying relatively close by to your teammates, keeping your movement abilities as potential contingencies, and shooting every goddamn enemy you can. Even if it's just an enemy shield or barrier, fry that bitch. Also, some quick added extras specifically for flanking and harassment characters like Reaper and Sombra, etc. When you're flanking, your goal is to pick off stragglers. Somebody on the enemy team is in the back, and it's usually the healers. Your goal is to get in, kill someone before anyone knows what happened, leave, and do it again. And in that leaving phase, some of the opposing team might attempt to follow you. This is when you want to lure them back to your team. They're down a man and they're distracted by trying to kill you specifically. So always, during your escape, run toward your team and not in any other direction. What you don't want to do as a flanker is come around, immediately grab the attention of their entire team, and then dive into them for a fight. That's not useful. Then your team is down a man. What you want to do is make things happen before too many of them know what's going on. You want to lurk around and take out snipers who are hiding in the back. You don't want them to notice you until it's too late. That's the game plan as a flank character. Now, having said all that and having gotten through all that damage talk, I'd like to give my damage hero suggestions. And I absolutely do not recommend the flank heroes. They are a terrible starting point. Please, please, please make yourself more familiar with the game before you dive into those characters, as well as the snipers. My official stay away from list includes Genji, Hanzo, Widowmaker, and Sombra. Please don't pick them until you're absolutely sure that you know what you're doing. Now, as for my recommended heroes, I'd say start off with some of the more straightforward characters that can hurt people from a distance without requiring higher precision. Soldier 76 and Sojourn are absolutely the top newcomer friendly characters, but there's also Junkrat, Torbjorn, Cassidy, Bastion. These are mostly simple and straightforward characters that should serve well as a means for getting used to doing damage. I would include Echo, but her ult is better off with people who have better knowledge of the game. Definitely one of the more advanced ults in the game. The rest of her kit is easy peasy, but I'd stay away because of the ult if I was newish. But yeah, that's it for damage, I think. That's all I want to say about them. Shoot your fucking gun. I can't stress that enough. Shoot your fucking gun. But now, on to our final role, support. And oh my god, theoretically, what I have to say should be short. But when has anything I've ever had to say been short? I want to start off by saying, if you don't want to heal your teammates, if that is not what you want to do, you don't want to be a healer. If that's not glamorous or flashy enough for you, if you want to get kills, do damage, and hurt people, do not pick a support hero. Do not queue up for support. You don't have to. Who's making you do this? Don't do it if you don't want to. But if you queue up for support role or pick a support hero, commit to it. Take your goddamn role to heart. Your job is not to do damage or get kills. Your job, first and foremost, as a support hero, is to heal your teammates. One more time for the people in the back. Your job as a support hero, all of them, every single one, is to heal. Let's go over who's a support character just so that there's no misunderstandings about who you should be healing with. If you choose Ana, heal. If you choose Baptiste, heal. If you choose Brigitte, heal. If you choose Kiriko, yes, Kiriko, heal. If you choose Lucio, if we're not headed toward an objective, I don't want to see that speed shit on. You play that healing beat, you get next to whoever you can, you amp up the sound, and you don't turn it off. If you pick Mercy, heal. If you pick Moira, yes, even Moira, did you know that the R2 button or RT on Xbox will spray a healing yellow mist towards your teammates? I know, unbelievable, but it's true. If you pick Zenyatta, heal. Your main priority with any and all of these characters should be to heal your team. I'm not saying to never attack anyone. I'm only saying what I said. Your main priority is to heal. Stop throwing those fucking kunai, Kiriko. Your aim sucks anyway. Heal. Stop running away from your team, Lucio, to try to ineffectively boot people and run on a fucking wall. Heal. And I swear to God mercy if you pull out that fucking pistol. Okay. Now that main and very important tip, if you could even call it that, is out of the way, let's get into another that is kind of a branch on the same tree. If you are playing a support, stand behind and with your tank. We don't need you in front where you can't see anyone. Like I said about being in the other roles, they should stay in the healer's line of sight. As the healer, you should not narrow your line of sight. Stand back, stay vigilant, stay with your tank as much as you can and heal everyone you can. Your team doesn't need your power. Any damage you can do is just icing. The cake is your healing. They can't keep themselves alive. So if your main focus is stepping out in front and hucking kunai and damage orbs like a fucking idiot, then everyone's gonna die. Take pride in your fucking healing. Be ashamed when your healing numbers are low. Try to beat your fellow healer and the enemy healers. Try to heal more than them. If you're not getting top healing every time, strive to be better. We need more healing. We don't need you to do damage. No one's impressed. Your job is to make your team feel like they can't fucking die. Like someone always has their back. Someone's always replenishing them. Not a dumbass who thinks if they're not directly killing people, then they're not helping. And if you think, well, if I was just healing, that'll get boring. You clearly have not focused on healing. Because someone always needs healing and they're not always gonna make it easy for you. Most of the time it won't be easy for you. Just fucking heal. It'll stay really exciting. It's really not that hard to understand, guys. And as far as suggestions go, I think Baptiste and Kiriko are the easiest to do some good, sufficient healing with. If you're willing to take the support role entirely to heart, then try Lucio or Mercy. But until you're really skilled and really know what's going on, do not, under any circumstances, pick Ana. Just don't fucking do it, please. And I'd probably avoid Moira and Brig as well until you're a little bit better, but just don't fucking pick Ana, please, please. Not until you're just a fucking GOAT level healer who has surmounted all mountains and is just looking for a new fucking challenge. Please, I beg you. So that's it. We've gone over all of the roles. I really do hope this helps anyone at all be better at this game. The last thing I want to say as just a general tip is group up. You should always be in fairly close proximity to your team. Stay in a group, not a fucking huddle. Stay in a group, not a huddle. You shouldn't all be so close that your whole team can get hit by the same small explosion, but you should all be able to fall back in on one another within about 2 to 3 seconds. So just try to have that situational awareness of where your teammates are and stay relatively close by, so that in a pinch, it's not just you versus whatever was about to kill you, okay? But yeah, okay, I think I'm done. I hope someone likes this video and hopefully it helps someone. If you think it's even a halfway decent video, I'm begging you once again to like it and share it and all that shit. There are obviously a lot of variables and things can change with more advanced play and in advanced situations, but I think with these fundamentals at your core, you'll see a lot more success. And real quick, if anyone from my other social pages is here, thanks for following me there. Shout out to you. And if you don't know, I'm on Twitter at WaifuBelector. I'm on Instagram at WaifuBelector. On Twitter, I just tweet about stupid game shit, and on Instagram, I post spicy waifu art. Ooh. So if you're into that kind of stupid shit like I very much am, go check that out. But yeah, thanks for watching. That's all I've got. Until next time, I am WaifuBelector. I am just a normal guy. I like hentai, and I'm gonna go play Overwatch 2. See you there. Goodbye.
Actuating the barrier.